Now to get the components, first let's go ahead and add this feature. So here, so view binding is required. So you can check the card which is flashing on the screen to study more about view binding. I have a dedicated video on view binding. And so for now, we'll be concentrating on the custom dialogues only. So as now we have the view binding, so let's just take the instance of the buttons that we have created inside our activity main.xml. So for that, log one. So let's create a function. Yes. So first we need to create a view in order to inflate this. So let's just call it as val view is equal to layout inflator dot from. Then we need to give the context. So as we are in the activity, we'll give application context dot uh, then dot inflate. Then we need to give the resource of the layout file, which is custom dialog one. Then we need to provide root as null because we don't want to attach it with any parent view. So that's it. Now we need to create a dialog instance. So that we'll be using alert dialog dot builder in order to create custom one. This also takes application context. So this takes context. That's it. And we need to set a view to this dialog. So all you have to do is set view and provide view as an input. And after that, also as we replicated the same for the main binding, so we'll be also taking the binding of this layout. So for that, val dialog binding is equal to name of the dialog, which is custom dialog. So just write custom dialog. So custom dialog one binding dot bind, and we will bind this with a view. So we already have the view, so pass the view in here as well. That's it. So our initializations are done. The only thing which is pending is to inflate this dialog. So in order to create this dialog in transparent mode, and by transparent mode I mean that you will be able to see the contents in the back, and this dialog will be shown as a pop-up. So for that you need to create a transparent background. So for that you can set some of the window attributes. So we will create an uh, attribute is equal to, we'll take this dialog dot create, and on create we will just do apply, and then we'll take a window dot set background tribal and color tribal. This inside this we'll just color dot transparent. Yes. And after that we don't want to have this dialog to cancelable, so do it as false, and then at last show. And that's it. So let's just see that how our dialogues look uh, in real in an emulator. So let me just connect my physical device with it and let's see. So I have my emulator running. Okay. uh, so fine. Okay. So let me explain you the reason this happens with me quite a times, because I just forget that in what like life cycle I'm using, whether I'm using an activity or a fragment. So when you're using a fragment, it actually takes the view of its parent, which is the activity. So that's why you just have to call require context or require view, which will automatically draw the view from your parent activity. But as we are working in the main activity itself, so if you'll give the context of the application, then actually it's taking the context of the main application, which actually is a main backend of the your APK. Then in that case you actually have specifically need to mention with a keyword this, and you can just type at the rate and specifically for in which activity you're using. But if you're using this in a fragment, then this should not be an issue. So as you can see, so we have this very cool looking layout. Now we can also add functionalities to it. So now let's add some click listeners. This is allow button. This is don't allow button. So this way you can have your custom layout set up, and you can also add actions to this as well. So this is also a type of label on which clicking you can initiate a web activity or another fragment or any sort of actions that you want to attach with this one. So this completes our first type of layout. Now create another one which is splashing on your screen, and this one has some cool animations. So let's start with that one as well. So for that, we need to create another layout. So we'll call it as custom dialog underscore 2 split. Perfect. So we have also designed our second dialog. So let's just see how this looks in real as well. So same thing, going back to main activity, and here add another instance of binding dot dialog 2 button dot set on click listener, and here we'll call the same thing open dialog 1, but instead of this we'll be giving dialog 2 layout. Cool. Okay, just we need to check some paddings, but this looks good. So we have this is cancel button, this is confirm button, and trust me, this emulator doesn't have that quality which I'm looking in my cell phone, and it looks great. So this kind of layout can help you to interact with user in a better way. And we can also do one thing. So again, you can check out my videos on lottie files. We can add some animations in here so that to make it more interactive and a 3D kind. So when we click on this layout, see a cool 3D kind of animation which is popping out of your custom dialog, and you can provide the user. So I just gave the padding, so that's why. So that's it for the video. You can find these files on my GitHub repository. I've mentioned the link in my below section. I've also included the links to some of the supported tutorials for the Lottie files and the view binding in my description below. I would suggest please go and check them out as well. So that's all for the video. Till next, peace out.